Yo.
Yes, sir. What's up, guys?
Yes. This DJ will kick the floor in 3, 2, 1.
On the troll. On the troll.
Hello and welcome to Mzansi back again. It's that time of the night again. I have to tell you, load shedding is doing what it does best. But listen, we'll not let it win. So for now, we are here. Regardless, we have our meeting. And our meeting requires that we discuss the issues that are troubling the countries, at least troubling a lot of minds. So please subscribe, like the video. I see we have 46 people, but we only have 10 likes. So thank you for those who remember just right away to like and subscribe. Please subscribe. Please do subscribe and please like the video. Thank you very much for being considerate. Emily, I think you should hit the ground and run.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Mzansi Reality YouTube channel. We are here to cover the Senzo Meyiwa trial in today's court proceedings. Now it's a Wednesday today, and Sipho Ramasipele opened his cross-examination by asking state witness Nache about his height and the quality of his sight. Ramasipele asked, "What is your height?" And Nache said around 1.8 meters to 1.9 meters. So that's quite tall. He's a tall man. So Ramasipele then asked, "What is your vision like?" And Nache said, "My eyes are fine, but I do need glasses." Then he was asked, "You testified about you having a view into the Khumalo kitchen." And Nache said, "Yes." Ramasipele then asked, "What is the distance between your bedroom, window, and the Khumalo kitchen?" Nache said about 7 meters. There was even a measuring of it in the courtroom, and the distance that he measured was somewhere between where Advocate Mshololo was sitting. And Ramasipele then asked, "You testified as you looked into the Khumalo home, you saw a person standing with his back against the window." Then Nache said yes. And Zandi Khumalo said there is a cupboard blocking off the window. What's your comment? And Nache said, "I agree that the space was small, and when the door is open, the view is obstructed." Right? So Ramasipele then asked, "She also said that there is a curtain making it partially difficult to see." And Nache said, "I agree. She said that the wall would also make it difficult to see their house." And then Nache said, "I disagree because there's a wall that I'm able to see." Now, with regards to the curtain situation, he did mention that the curtains are light. So when the lights are on, he was able to see. Yes. So he mentioned that part. So Ramasipele then asked, "Let's talk about the man who you said jumped into your yard. Did you actually see him jumping, or you saw him already in?" And Nache said he had already jumped into their yard. Then Ramasipele asked, "Did you ask him his name?" Nache said, "I don't remember." "What is the time lapse from the time you interacted to the time he jumped back into the Khumalo yard?" And then Nache said, "Not more than a minute." Isn't that interesting?
Very interesting. And look, I believe that.
And Ramasipele continued to ask, "You said upon your return from the park, you entered the Khumalo home, and towards the passage, you saw the deceased on the floor. You said you tried to make him sit up," and Nache said yes. "When you found him, was he conscious?" "He appeared unconscious," it's what Nache said. He appeared unconscious. Ramasipele then asked, "You said you phoned the police?" Then Nache said yes. You know, on that unconscious, he also added that did he say he was unresponsive? I don't know if I remember well, but he said something like that he was unresponsive. So Ramasipele then asked, "You said you phoned the police?" Nache said yes, but I don't remember if I phoned immediately when we got into the yard, or at what stage, or whether it was after we loaded him into the vehicle. "Then when you made the deceased sit up, was there blood on the floor?" Then Nache said, "I don't remember. Personally, it was my first time witnessing a person who was shot. Further, it was not just anyone, but my hero or role model. Then Nache continued to say that I was still young at the time, so certain things I cannot remember clearly.
Okay.
Ramasipule then said, you say the deceased seemed unconscious. You'd agree he was non-responsive. Then Nache said, yes, he was not able to respond verbally. He also could not breathe with ease. You could see that he was in a bad condition.
You see, right there, this is where you stop. That question was not supposed to come for me.
Should have left it alone.
You have canvassed the theory of possibility of Senzo being non-responsive when he was taken to the car. Right? That point of unconscious, leave it at that. It creates doubts. Why are you going to go back and ask it in a different way as if you were not satisfied by the answer? You know, the only time you revisit a certain answer, this is me, this is what I would do. I would not revisit anything that gives me an upper hand. Why are you going to go back and revisit a proper answer that you were giving? And now you are getting now that he was breathing. And just leave it at that. You are not talking this guy is not an aspect. You know,
I would have dealt with that breathing part a little bit more and be like, how did you know he was breathing?
But you open that door, and that's when then Balo would object you, because you are now saying
the witness was there and saw them breathing. I want them to explain how.
The problem is that
they saw that they were breathing.
It's easy to object things like that. This is medication. This is medical stuff. Right?
But you said you saw it.
Yes.
It can't be difficult explaining what you saw to indicate that he was breathing.
You do you see now this? Do you see the judge coming in and jumping into that? Do you foresee that?
Look at me. Can you tell whether I'm breathing or not?
Do you understand? You got one thing that you wanted. A person was non-responsive. Leave it at that. Don't continue trying to find. I don't know. We want him to say he was normal, which again would be opposed.
Yeah.
Because either way,
my Lord.
This person is not qualified to do that. Is not qualified to declare people whether they are alive or just leave it at that. What you are doing there, I see it.
Okay. Then Ramasepele asked, do you know if an ambulance was called? And then Nache said, I have no knowledge of that. I don't remember. I don't know. Then Ramasepele was done with his cross-examination. It was quite short. And then Advocate Charles Mnisi for accused number 3 began his cross-examination. And he started off by asking, when you returned from the park and went into the KHUMALO'S, did you see anyone? Nache said, myself and neighbors. There is someone I saw, and this was the person who assisted us to make the deceased sit up. There were also 2 people that were helping. I also saw the person who had crutches and the person who jumped into our yard. So besides the neighbors that came in, or that we came with, those are the 2 that I can say I saw when we were helping each other. Mm-hmm. Then Mnisi asked, when you took him from the spot where he was lying, did you take him out of the kitchen door into the motor vehicle from the spot where you found him? And then Nache said, yes, it is so. The reason why I'm concerned about this is because the court has the testimony of Zandi Khumalo. The court heard the testimony of Zandi Khumalo, and amongst others, she told the court that after Senzo got injured, he went on to hide himself in the sitting room near the sofas there, but it was in the sitting room. And that is where she was taken from when he was taken to the vehicle. Then Baloyi objected and said that that is not correct. She said that he went to kneel down between the couch and the room divider. Thereafter, she went to look for help. So when the deceased was carried, she was at Mapiris. totally debunking that kitchen, living room.
It's a mistake, a huge mistake. I mean, obviously, that is a question. Some of these questions, when you ask them, you don't show. It's like you showing me your hand. You open it and you show me what you have. Then you expect me to answer differently. That's a problem that they have. And one thing that I'm going to say, Emil, is that
their questions are too leading for defense counsel. Say it.
They have one way of doing things. They don't have this dynamic way of adjusting and looking at the situation. They are at a situation where they should adjust.
Yes or no
But
answers
the problem is that they are not willing to adjust. They are used to that
answers.
Yes or no book answer. Here, we are not here for that, because this is a huge case that has lot of controversy in it. So you can expect to come and get yes or no answer type of a situation. Already you have seen the judge that lets things fly. What you need now is strategy number 2. I'm used to asking people who are submissive, and now I'm going to get people who sometimes are going to resist answering questions. So how do I get answers from those people without having to threaten them and do all those things? This is requiring them to do that. This judge is a person who likes hearing people tell nice stories that are relating to Kasi type of. That's what I'm gathering. He's a person who lived with people. I can probably assume this is someone who can tell you long stories. He likes to talk to. If you get that chance, do involve him in any case. However that you can involve him. Just have that sense of humor also when we are asking these people. The problem is that there's that seriousness, that just tenseness in that court. I don't know who came and told them to be this tense. You see, what I'm seeing with these lawyers is that I see people who went to study and come back and apply what they studied without any innovation. When I do my work, I always try to enjoy it. Once I stop enjoying it, it's no longer the work that I want. So I'm here because I'm enjoying this thing. So if I don't enjoy, I'm not going to do the best. I'm just going to do the average. And that's the problem. You need to
giving that as long as we showed up.
Yes.
I don't know what happened to that spark.
They are not motivated by someone giving them maybe an answer that might seem like a lie. That motivation of why I became a lawyer. I became a lawyer so that I can get something out of someone, even if they are trying to hide it. Are you still doing that? Are you doing that by requiring yes or no answer, yes or no, yes or no?
It's too stiff and rigid. And these people, remember, a lot has happened. It's been 9 years. A lot has happened in
yes. So you need to tease. First, you need to massage their memory. You need to massage it in a nice way. And where you need to understand and sacrifice also, because sometimes you're going to see that this person actually knows this answer but is not willing to give it to me. If you need to compromise somewhere along the line, do so. Because if you compromise 1 and you get 10, that's better.
Way better. So Mnisi had to withdraw that question, and the judge said, so you are wrong. Nisi said that to say that I'm wrong is a very strong statement. It was my interpretation. Interpretation can be wrong. It's just an assessment of how I heard the evidence. And the judge said, no, you are wrong. If you are wrong, you are wrong. Why do you want to run away from the fact that is obvious?
That's true. That is true. You know, that thing of interpretation, Emily, it comes in many ways. You can be required to interpret something and then you get it wrong. Even at school, they would give you, in my department, they would give you an equation and say interpret it. interpret these variables that you see here, and you interpret them, you get them wrong. So there's no, this is not ethics where someone is not expected in it. There is a wrong and a correct answer. That's it.
True. So it was kind of funny when it happened, but I was like, maybe the point that Mnisi should draw from this is that get your facts right. Maybe.
Yes.
Get it right. Get the narration and the story right. Even if you are wrong in between, allow the space for correction.
It's okay.
Rephrase the question because, you realized, no, that's not exactly how it happened. Can I rephrase the question? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Have that flexibility.
You know why I'm worried about the manner in which this case, these lawyers are representing themselves as. They as I said, they don't want to adjust to me. This is what I'm seeing. So what happens if you get someone who's autistic, someone who's too direct, someone who's going to tell you, this is wrong? There are people like that. And they become judges and they are smart.
Yes, who are very blunt.
So what happens if you get someone like that? So you're going to now be arguing, no, you shouldn't have said that like that. Come on.
Then there are others who speak a lot, like Bontab saying so. You need to also know how to navigate such.
What I saw, these people missed from this guy. They were interested in what happened in the house, inside the house. What they could have gotten from this guy is Longwe's whereabout. Was there any car when you got inside the yard? And as you were running, you are saying you were so responsive. You just went straight when you were told to if you were told to run and check those people by the park. That's where they ran to. And did you at some point when you were running there see anyone? And then probably the guy was gonna say no, as you said, you didn't see anyone. Not even Longwe. You know, you are teasing something out. You are getting something out of that guy because we are told Longwe, according to the stories that we are hearing here, I think before Tinovo and the statements, is that Longwe ran out. And even, they are agreeing that Longwe is the first one to run out. You know, get that information so that when you come to this second person, you already have some few weapons. Yes, the guy had few information, because he was not part of the house, but the surrounding, the area, use that. That. The guy said he saw two people inside. Was there any car other than X6? Remind the guy. No, yes. Simple no, yes answer.
So Mnisi removed that question that he was moved from the sitting room to the kitchen. It totally went away, although I believe that he could have worked a way around it. So now he says we suppose that the deceased was taken from the sitting room to the vehicle, and Nache said, okay, understood. And then Mnisi said, we are one of the KHUMALO'S, part of the people who assisted to put him in the car. So he's asking Nache, were you one of those people? And then Nache said, I don't remember, I'm not sure. Then Mnisi was done with his cross-examination. Another flat tire situation that I felt like, you could have done so much. First of all, we want to know who told the community, the neighbors, to go to the park.
Yes. Who pointed you to that direction? Something like that, because you didn't have much conversation with Mtogo, according to what you are telling us. Less than 30 a minute is not enough for you to get more information of what happened. So who pointed you to that direction? You know?
Who gave you like that command to go and look for the two people that ran away? Can you remember anybody specific, like who you heard and then you ran? You know? That would have been very useful. But Nxumalo said that he had no cross-examination to the witness. How did you feel about Nxumalo not having a cross-examination done?
Another thing that I'm seeing is that because probably they have read some of the statements, they already have this, they have segmented what they want to target. Like, for example, I don't think Nxumalo is going to let Ntabi go.
Okay.
You know, and that's a problem. As you are doing that, you are missing some of the crucial information. And you are portraying to the judge now that you are not interested in what could help your people, your client. So would you blame the judge if he was to rule otherwise? Because you had a chance of fighting for everything that this situation is fighting for everything.
Some questions you don't need to prepare. I mean, they need to just pop up, right? Right? Am I wrong? I'm not a lawyer, but lawyers help us out here.
I can forgive Ramsipid because he's the first one. He's always on the spot.
He's always the first one. He has to warm.
So he has
up.
to think on his feet most of the time. You are given chance to look at what Ramsipid is asking, and I'm sure when Ramsipid is asking some questions, something tick on your head, and you're like, in fact, this person didn't answer this thing.
This question.
How do I get it out? You know,
Exactly.
that's the point of having these 4 defense. 4.
Oh my God. And I also felt like even Nisi in that moment where the judge is like, you are wrong, he's pointing out this part, this mistake that you guys don't really have your facts right. And in not having your facts right, it affects the questioning. And you guys don't listen much. I think that's another problem.
Why
Because
don't
when-
they have the
when
pens?
they
Why don't I see the
respond,
pens, them
When
writing?
the witnesses respond, some of the responses, another question can develop from that answer. You shouldn't need to have prepared for it. You should be picking it up already and dancing around it. But that was not happening. I don't know what's happening. Then Mshololo's cross-examination started, and she started off by saying, Mr. Nache, do you know what is the height of the wall between the 2 houses, your house and the Khumalo house? And Nache was like, I can show an example of how tall it is in relation to me. Then he demonstrated it, although we were not able to see it. Then Advocate Zandile Mshololo said that if there is a curtain at the Khumalo house window, how did you see? And then Nache said there is a curtain, but I could still see through it. It was light, but the light was on. It was late, but the light was on in the kitchen, so I couldn't see much. Then Mshololo asked, did you say it was lit inside the kitchen? Then Nache said, yes. When I saw the person through the kitchen window, the reflection was visible because it was lit. And I could see the white T-shirt. And then Nache continued to say that, in other words, the curtain was not thick. You could be able to see through the curtain.
Yes.
So Mshololo then asked, Zandi Khumalo said that there was no way you could see through the house because of the curtain. And then Nache said, that's her version, I can't speak for her. Then Mshololo asked, but you are saying you were able to see? Then Nache said, yes, I was able to see. So you said you went down to the park, and after you came back from the park, you still found the deceased kept inside the house. Is that correct? Then Nache said, yes. By the time you returned, the deceased hadn't received medical attention. He was just sitting in the house. Nache said, when we left home, I was at home. We went out the gate. We went down the street with the community. We were in a hurry. When we arrived, we saw no one. And this is the part where I wish you would have asked who told them to go to the park in the first place. It was a perfect moment. But then Mshololo continued to ask, I agree with that. My question is, you went down and came back only to find that there was no ambulance called. Now this right here started feeling like an attack.
Exactly. That's my problem. You see, there are court cases where you just need to attack. You would need to attack. This one, and I repeat, this one is not one of those. Because these people, You can, Emil, how do you expect me to help you reach a certain destination if you are becoming harsh on me?
I don't know. Because I will just close in and just be resistant and just defend myself. If I feel attacked, I'm going to defend myself.
You see, many people were saying this guy might have lied. I don't think so. This guy,
May he not have told the whole truth?
Yes.
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 But did he lie? Not
No,
entirely.
I don't think so. The guy was just careful. You know, the guy was just careful. And you start attacking the guy as if the guy was part of the people who were in the house.
Yeah, but that's the mistake right there. And even prior to De Novo, they made the similar mistake with Mokete and Musi.
And they became defensive. They are bound to become defensive. That's what I would do.
They need to identify people that will help their case versus people that will not as witnesses. And they are struggling to differentiate between the two. Oh, Nache, there was no need to be hostile or be...
Welcome, Pamela, in our membership. Thank you very much for joining us. Yes,
Thank you,
Amen.
Pamela. Thank you. So Mshololo then said, I agree with that. My question is, you went down and you came back only to find that there was no ambulance called. And Nache said, it is indeed so. Then Mshololo said, where were Kelly Khumalo and her mother when you entered the house from the park?
Yes.
Nache said, I only saw Kelly's mother. I don't recall seeing the others. Mshololo asked, were you asked by the family members or the neighbors to take the deceased into the car and to the hospital? And Nache said, I don't recall how communication went about, but we decided we will take Senzo into the car and to the hospital. Mshololo asked, you said the deceased was non-responsive when you took him. Nache said he was non-responsive even verbally, but when you neared the face and mouth, one could hear difficulty breathing.
Now you see, you are conversing, and people
You should have
think
let it go.
that sometimes this judge is harsh, maybe, but you are conversing
The unresponsive
things
party died. They
of
should have let it go.
things that are clearly
Should have let it go.
the further you dig, the answer becomes more against you.
Defined.
Yes.
And Mshololo then said, as he is sitting in that critical condition, was there any Khumalo family member helping him? Or was he left there to die by himself? Now, I felt this D-I-E word. I was like... But then the judge said, no, you can't say that. Left there to die. Zandile said that she went to Mapiri's. Please, man. And at this part, it started to sound like the judge is now defending Zandi again, and Zandi is not in the court. And it was a mess.
They are putting this man in that position. They are putting him in that position because to debunk that he was not just left there to die. He has to bring other things and say, but because of 1, 2, 3, this is what I had. And obviously, the only person that has been there in front of this judge is Zandi.
Yes. So he was reprimanding and telling Mshololo, let's not adulterate the evidence by stating non-essentials that she never testified to. She said she panicked, she froze, she went to Mapiri, she was with Ntabi saying she couldn't even dial 10-111. And now you're telling us that she left him to die. So according to Zandi's testimony, guys, even if we are not liking her much, but according to her testimony, she did show that she made attempts to try and get help. So to accuse that she left them to die was kind of extreme. It was kind of extreme. So Mshololo rephrased her question, and then she asked, is there any person who was assisting the deceased when you arrived, or was he left there on his own? Now this is a little bit better. It's more polished.
It's more respectful. Let me put it like that.
Yes. And then Nache said, when we appeared by the passage, there was nobody assisting him. And you got your answer. This is what I'm talking about, the dance. The dance. Ask for opportunity to rephrase the question, especially Mnisi. Ask for that opportunity. Don't just leave it or abandon it. You know? Then the judge to Nache said, how old were you at the time of the incident? Then Nache said that he was 26 years old. And then the judge said, you were fairly grown up. And then Nache said, yes. Were you shocked? Nache said, shocked, traumatized. And then the judge says, yeah, you didn't even know what to do. Am I correct? And then Nache said, yes, that's how normal people react to an incident.
That's the judge.
Unexpected and traumatic and sudden. And you are not a trained CPR, person. And she said, yes, I'm not. A trained medical assistant. A nurse, when a lady is giving birth, I'll make an example that when she's in labor, a trained nurse will probably know what to do. Me, I'll just faint. This is the judge, by the way, saying all of this, that I'll just hold my head, But I do know that some policemen do assist women to give birth. And then Nache was like, yes, you could feel him relax a bit, And then the judge said, and that's one of the reasons why you said you chased down to the park and left Senzo bleeding. He was bleeding internally, perhaps. And then Nache said, I can correct that.
See?
When we went down to the park, we were not aware that there was someone who was shot. When we came back, that is when we got full information of what exactly happened.
Done.
You let it go.
Done. You couldn't establish if this guy had full information or he responded as I would respond if my neighbor was making noise and I'm being maybe pointed somewhere that someone went that way. If I have guards to follow that person, I would do that, right?
Now, this was an opportunity for some of them to jump and say, my lord, can I ask one more question? And be like, okay, fine. Who told you guys to run to the park? Do you remember?
Yeah.
That was a perfect opportunity. So that we can close with Nache. Because Nache, the only information I feel we needed for him was those two things. The fact that they ran to the park without even looking in the house or knowing that there was someone shot in the house. Then Baloyi started with his re-examination. And in his re-examination, he said, Advocate Mshololo said you found the deceased unattended. Do you remember what the time lapse was from when you went to the park and went to the Khumalo home? Then Nache said maybe 12 minutes, So like, in my head, Mr. Anonymous, 200 meters in 12 minutes. I don't think I believe that, but it's fine. The witness says it's
But in any case, this is not like I'm giving you facts. This is my estimation. You have a maths mind. You would probably know how long it would take, given the situation, roughly. You can't blame them about... basically, at the end, the judge is almost saying that
they don't matter.
Yeah.
Those
whatever you got, you take it the way it is.
Okay.
Don't dwell on it. I'm not a doctor.
Advocate Ramasipili put it to you that the space there at the kitchen window is small, and when the door is open, the view is obstructed. This is Baloyi. And then he also continued to say that that's when Ramasipili objected, actually. He stood up and objected that he did not speak about any door. It is the witness who spoke about the door. And Baloyi said it is of no consequence and continued either way. When you saw the person via the window, do you remember if the kitchen door was open or closed? This is Baloyi asking Nache. Nache responded by saying, when I saw him, it was closed. Then the judge said, to say that Senzo was unattended is incorrect. Zandile went to Mapiri again. Zandile repeated the whole testimony of Zandile. you know. And Nami, I was feeling it. It was like, you know what, the judge here is it's sounding like it's a spokesperson at this point. I think we are annoyed. What is going on? What is happening here? So even Mshololo tried to raise an objection there, and she was quickly shut down with the repetition of Zandile Khumalo's testimony again. That she rushed to Mapiri's house, went to the... all of that nitty-gritties, you know? What did you think about that, Mr. Anonymous?
Look, I don't listen to re-examination. I jumped out.
Then Judge Ratamukwatleng says that for the assertion to be made that Meyiwa was left unattended cannot be correct because Zandi testified that she ran out to get help.
Okay.
So witness number 26 now came to the stand. The name was Mrs. Ntabiseng Petunia Mokete. She's Sotho. Mokete. Then Baloyi asked for an adjournment because the witness had just arrived and they wanted her to catch her breath. Right? Then Thabiseng Mokete says that on the day of the tragedy, she was staying at her sister Maggie Phiri's house. That's in the same street as the KHUMALO'S. Now, asked if she knew the KHUMALO'S, and Thabiseng said yes. And they asked how was the house positioned from the KHUMALO'S, and their house is directly opposite across the road from the KHUMALO'S and Nache homes. So she was asked to point on the exhibit where exactly that was. Okay, and on the 26th of October, an incident happened that led you to come to court today. And Ntabi said, yes, it is so. Ntabi saying, I may cut it to Ntabi, guys. Yes. So can you please tell the court what happened on that day? Ntabiseng said, I had just taken a bath and was sitting inside a friend's vehicle next to our home, the car of my friend, Yolanda Nota. Baloyi wanted her to point where that car was parked and said that it was not visible from the picture she was shown. Now, asked how was the vehicle parked, she said it was parked facing the direction of the park. Mr. Anonymous, note that it was parked facing the direction of the park. Then Baloyi said, where in the car were you sitting? Mokete said she was sitting in the back seat behind the driver.
Yeah.
Now, where was Yolanda Nota seated? She was seated at the driver's seat. Were there any other occupants in the car? Then Thabiseng said her friend Yolanda's child was also there. The child was about a year or just below a year, so it was a baby practically. And the car was a Honda Bale. She could not remember whether it was a sedan or a hatchback. So Ntabiseng said while they were sitting in the car chatting, there was a loud sound, a bang. It sounded like a gunshot. They got shocked. She said, I got shocked. I said to my friend Yolanda, that is the sound of a firearm being discharged. After the sound of the firearm, there is a person who walked while I was saying to Yolanda that is the sound of a gunshot. The person was running while passing us. And then Baloyi asked, was they male or female? And Thabiseng said he looked like a male. He was lean in physique and wore pants. What else was he wearing? That's my question. But it's my question. From which direction to which direction was this person running past? Then Thabiseng said, when I saw this person, he was already passing the vehicle and running towards the park. Now, Baloyi asked around what time, and Thabiseng said around after 8 p.m. And Thabiseng said, in the car, my friend and I started to have a disagreement. I was saying it's a gunshot sound, and she was saying it's not. Now, if I remember well, I told her that I grew up around the hostel, and there were firearms being discharged. That's why I know the sound of the firearm. As we were arguing with each other, there was another sound of a firearm being discharged. This second sound was like it was closer to the vehicle. Closer to the vehicle. After that sound, two people passed us running towards the park as well, in the same direction as the previous person. As we were listening after they had passed, I then said to my friend, we will end up dying inside the car. Let's get out of this vehicle. People are running away. She was the first person to open the door first to get out and check what was happening. When she opened the door, those people ran down. Then we heard another shot, the third one. As she opened the door, I also tried to open the door because I was shocked. It's the third gunshot. I remember hearing Zandi's voice and seeing her by the gate. It's as if she could see that I was getting out of the car. So
there's going to be one question out of what has been said right now.
Mm-hmm.
Why would she say that the second shot sounded like it was closer to the car? It sounded, in fact, she said it sounded closer to the car.
To the vehicle, yes.
Not like. It sounded closer to the... Why would you say that?
And it's interesting because the third gunshot, according to Miss Popola, Bega Popola a bathroom. So according to Tabiseng's version, by the third gunshot, Uzandi was by the danger box. Yabo. So,
Okay, let me not be the judge here. Let me. What I'm interested in is the first person runs down. After that, two people with one with threats. They run after the second shot. Let us assume maybe it was the intruders. Then who shot the third one? This is a very interesting thing, but obviously you're not going to put that question to Ntabi because she could not know.
She doesn't know.
It's not even a question that you need to put. Perhaps you can leave that for arguments.
Yes, for argument. Or magune option yokubiza futhi ngathi ngathathwa.
Yeah, maybe if
ikhona.
yeah. But again, you're gonna be played around the witnesses. It's gonna say that is her version, like they always do that.
Yeah.
So
argument.
Leave that for arguments.
So she was screaming. This is Zandi. She was screaming, saying, Tabiseng, call an ambulance. Then Baloyi acts surprised and asks who Zandi Khumalo, who resides at the Khumalo house. Even Tabiseng was stunned at that question. Baloyi then asked, where was Zandi at the stage when she was saying, call an ambulance? You can use the photo to illustrate. Then Tabi said that from where the car was parked, she could see inside the Khumalo yard. She appeared where she pointed, and according to what was later disclosed, it was near a substation, otherwise known as a danger box, that's outside the Khumalo yard. She said that call an ambulance. She saw her behind the danger box. She saw Zandi behind the danger box. And she said, I'm uncertain if she climbed onto something to elevate herself, but she was visible. So she was visible from that danger box. And there's a wall also, so she could be seen. She was still inside the yard, guys. So she says she's not sure if Zandi stood on top of something, you know? And then they asked, where was the car parked? Because it was parked near my home gate. You could see the Khumalo home. A person standing, you were able to see them. So she was appearing from that direction. Right? So she screamed and typed saying, call an ambulance. Senzo had been shot. As she was saying that, she was coming out of the gate, running towards us. So Zandi never said anything about screaming. But as she came running towards us, I then decided to pick up the child. I was shocked at that stage, thinking perhaps I should also run. I picked up the child and ran into our yard. Now we are running together, myself and Zandi, to enter our kitchen door. As we entered the house, I started screaming for my sister Mapiri. She came out from the bedroom and she asked what's happening. That is where Zandi explained that Senzo was shot. She, Zandi, then requested that an ambulance be called. From then, I cannot have a clear recollection if the ambulance was phoned or not. I remember leaving the child on the carpet. Zandi had gone out and I followed. When I went to the street, there were multitudes of people, and the X6 that she referred to as Kelly's car was parked in the street, and it was said Senzo had already been loaded into that car. She says, I remember being close to the car.
There is one thing that I would like to point out here, maybe also for arguments, is that as much as we can debunk all these theories, even Sbari Yasenzo, it still goes back to that issue of Senzo has been shot. How many people have you had saying that Senzo has been shot? It's Ntabi, it's Senzo's brother-in-law. In fact, it was specific to say that Senzo's brother-in-law was specific to say, was it Fiso, to say that Sektubule Senzo. You understand? That's a language. Yeah, that's the language, meaning Senzo has just been shot. So, and what they are looking for is mostly the ambulance, which I understand someone's life is at stake, but the behavior of people who had intruders in the house, yeah, it's very disturbing that they only want an ambulance only. The only thing they want is an ambulance.
What about the police?
You know, the protectors.
Well, she says, I remember being close to the car. Yolanda went to Makumalo when I ran into the house to leave the child and call Ausmegi into the house. After I came near the X6, it was said that the KHUMALO'S are going to the hospital. I remember it was said that they're going to Butsilong, which is the nearest hospital. Then myself and my friend Yolanda, she suggested we go back to the car and follow them. To correct myself, she went further to say that she was correcting herself from something she previously said, and she said we entered the car, but I don't remember whether she was the one who made the suggestion or it was me. But we entered the car and followed them. So she's saying she doesn't remember whether she's the one who made the suggestion that they should follow the car that Kelly was driving or not. Along the road, she says we couldn't see the vehicle. We thought they were driving at a high speed or that they left before us. At the hospital, we saw the car parked at the emergency section. And when we got there, they were already out of the vehicle. However, Senzo was still inside the vehicle in the back seat. There were two hospital workers. They were trying to take him out of the vehicle, but they were crying. Now, I'm asking myself, who was crying? She says, I remember Kelly, Zandi, and a friend of theirs who was tall and limping. They said his name was Tumelo. There was also another one called Mtogozisi. When we arrived, they were battling to disembark Senzo. Yolanda ran and went to assist so that he is put on the stretcher. They were all crying. I remember Zandi, Kelly, and Tumelo who were crying. What surprises me is that Zandi testified as if there were no other persons there, especially Ntabiseng herself. So the stretcher was pushed into the hospital, and when we got to the casualty door, they told us to go back outside. Just outside, there was a sitting area. While they were crying, I remembered I had two phones. I then handed them to the phones for calls to be made.
Before you swallow everything, there's another thing that I would like to ask to Ntabi, just to use her since she's here and to assist the court. I would ask her if, since you have seen eventually you ended up knowing, even if you didn't know Mtogo. Did you see Mtogo during that shooting? Did you see Mtogo? Because I would assume that Mtogo would pass, or since Nache's house is opposite your sister's house, and Togo is claiming that he used the gate, you would have seen Togo. Not unless if you were parked ahead, but if you were parked and as you are saying, you were parked opposite, you'd have seen him Togo. I wouldn't say at the time I would understand when you saw him, maybe you didn't know, but eventually you would later be told that this is Mtogo, a friend of Senzo and all that. So did you see Mtogo? Same as Longwe Twal.
Longwe.
Even if you
Tumelo,
didn't know, no, Tumelo was in the house. I'm just talking about people who claimed that they went out.
Actually, you're confusing the enemy now.
No, but confusing the enemy is gonna be called speculation. They're gonna ask you, did Tumelo or so the most questions should be about the
Longwe
people that
Mtogo.
Togo, yes. And here's the question that I would like to ask about Longwe. At the back of being told that this was Longwe, as you would say, they were interviewed by the police. They are still coming there, Emil. Had you encountered Longwe anywhere during that night in those streets? I would assume Longwe was still wearing the same thing that he was wearing when he was being interviewed. As you said, he was being interviewed in the house with who? With Tumelo. Mm-hmm. Yes. Did you see, prior to that, did you see Longwe in those streets? You saw someone who ran down. Let's say you didn't see the face. Let's say you didn't see anything. But you are able to explain. You are able to, in fact, you'll see when Emma reaches there, she's able to describe the height and how the person kind of, the body-wise, you are able to describe that person. That means you did give a glance to the person, the first person who was running, in a sense, but you didn't see the face. But then, if that was the case, if I was wearing a red T-shirt and whatnot, you should be able to say it was Longwe. Right?
Yes.
You should be able to. You cannot say that was just a person. You know, if it was Longwe, it was long. If it was not Longwe, then it was not long.
She said, I remember I had 2 phones. I then handed them so that phone calls were made, but I didn't know who was being called. Now, Baloi asked, who did you borrow the phone to? And Kelly and Tumelo. So, can't those phone records be?
I think the more they testify about the phones, the more it gets close to that position of actually having a phone that still exists. You know, thank you, Tenny, for joining membership. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Because one of these days, one of these persons is going to have that phone.
We need to prove this testimony.
I'm just saying that the more we're hearing about which phone they use and whatnot, we are getting closer to that.
Okay, she says as they were phoning, they were crying. They kept on saying Zori was shot. Myself and Yolanda were trying to comfort them. So, yeah, I had a question here, but I'm just going to skip it because I'm in a hurry, guys. Then a lady nurse who came to us and said, can you come quickly? The doctor is calling you. I then said to her, no. I don't think I am the one who is supposed to be there. She said there is information they were looking for. Hurry, go in. They went inside the room and where Senzo was being attended in. She said, when I got inside, the doctor asked me, how do I relate to this person? I said I was a family friend to his fiance. They went on as though they were resuscitating him. I remember the doctor saying, we tried everything, however, he is no longer. Yeah. Now that was too much for me. it was, but I'll share my opinion later if I can remember it. But it was too much. It was just too much for me. Then Baloyi said, even if it's hearsay, it has already been admitted in Exhibit G. Then the judge asked, why do you say a doctor making a pronouncement in front of her and you call it hearsay? Then Baloyi said, in the sense that the witness is testifying about what the doctor told her. Then the judge says, but she says she saw the doctor trying to resuscitate Senzo, and in that process, the doctor says Senzo is no more. Then Baloyi said that aspect has been admitted and it's of no consequence, my lord. And then the judge said it's fine. Tabzin continued narrating her story. She said, I sat there in the building and I didn't know what to do. I then phoned home. I called the landline into Mapiri's house and the phone was answered by Mr. Piri. And I told him I am at the hospital and that Senzo is no more. I didn't know how to exit and inform Kelly and the rest. Mr. Piri then said I should hold on a bit so that he could call my sister on the phone. When I spoke to Ausi Megi on the phone, she told me that Makumalo was on the way. I should wait there. Makumalo had just left. She is on her way to the hospital. Then Baloyi stopped her, saying that what she told her is not admissible. So I felt like Baloyi was stopping Tabi from saying what other people were saying. Right? Saying that it's not admissible. He did it a lot of times. She says, I then waited for the arrival of Makumalo. When they opened the casualty door where we were, because it had been a while with the doctors waiting, not knowing what to do. It had been over 15 to 20 minutes. I told them that Kelly's mother was on her way. While we were still waiting, I told them that I didn't know what to do because they said Makumalo was on her way. I'd like more time. I told the other nurse after some time, after seeing that Yolanda seemed stronger, she could break the news to Kelly and the rest. When they opened the door, it's the time when they were going to call Yolanda. That is when Kelly's mother arrived. I said to them, this is the relevant person the news can be broken to, referring to Ntombi Khumalo. She walked in and the doctors, didn't go straight to the point that he was no more. She says the hospital staff were looking for a way to break the news to her. It's like they tried to resuscitate him again. I'm like, saying manje making doctors at the hospital sound like amateurs. That's my opinion, you know. They eventually managed to break the news to her that they tried their best, but he is no more. Then Kelly Khumalo's mother, blasted into a cry. She wailed. When they heard that wailing from the mother, it was decoded as something unpleasant. And then we all went out. There was some commotion at the hospital as nurses wanted a file to be opened. They also said the police needed to be called to be taken where there was a shooting. I remember my phone rang. It appears it was someone returning the call made from my phone. It was Chico Twala calling back, responding to a phone call he received from my phone.
1,050 likes, guys. Can we, views? Can we please have that 1,000 translated to likes?
How
and
much
for
do
new
we
people,
have so far?
We have 300.
Guys, you can do better than that. Come on now. We are begging for likes. Push them to 500. Okay? 500, please.
Even more than 500. It's a 1,000. It's 1,000 people. Can we please get those likes, please? And then keep the conversation coming on the comments as usual. If you cannot comment, you must know that you are not subscribed. Please subscribe, then you'll be able to comment within, I think, a minute or so.
So when Chico called, he had gone back into the room where Senzo was. We all gathered there. She says, I remember Kelly giving him directions of our whereabouts because he eventually arrived at the time. So Kelly was communicating with Chico on that day. Chico eventually arrived, and Kelly was crying hysterically, saying that she wanted to leave the same night and go to Senzo's home. Then Baloyi intervened again and said it's fine. She was crying, and what happened further, we may not disclose what she was saying. They called the police. When the police arrived, I left with Khumalo. We went to the Khumalo house where the incident took place. Ntabiseng says she was filling in a form at the hospital, and filling in that form, she was taking information from Kelly because she didn't know the person, Senzo. She doesn't remember completing the entire form, but she was filling it in.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, why are you filling in forms now? Hey. Baloyi then asked, did the police arrive at the hospital? Ntabiseng then said many police officers arrived at the hospital. She says, we left the hospital with Kelly's mother with a police car. Then Baloyi said, what time? And Ntabiseng said, I cannot recall the time. I didn't even look at the time. If I remember well, it was marked a police car. I remember us walking into the house and spent some time in the bedroom. I went to the kitchen to get water. I remember seeing a brownish hat with white. Baloyi then asked, where did you see it? And Ntabiseng said, I remember seeing Khumalo hold the hat. She said it belonged to one of them. She can't remember clearly whether she was inside or outside the house. So she
held that hat.
Yes.
By the way, just it's a note, something to note.
She held the hat and showed it to the police and said it belonged to one of them.
Yeah.
Then she said, I also saw a walking stick in the kitchen. As I went to get water, police were investigating there. There was an item on the floor, and I said to them, is this not what you are looking for? It was a silverish and steel object. It was like 2 centimeters long. Sounds like a bullet.
It is. What I would like to know on that, while we're at that, I would like to ask Ntabi, when you got in a house, were you briefed about anything by the police? Were you briefed that perhaps there's something that they were looking for? You know, and with that, were they specific on what they were looking for? I mean, I find it very convenient for you to actually, after all these stops and whatever that you have really done in helping this family, then you come back again, you become a hero of finding a bullet, what do you call this thing? Yep. The cartridge, what do you call it?
Bullet.
Is it a bullet?
2 centimeters long.
No. I'm saying, was that a bullet? Yeah. So let's say it was a bullet or whatever that you find. Yes.
Steel object, or maybe it's a cartridge.
Maybe it's a cartridge. But I mean, were you briefed that specifically they are looking for such? I mean, for you to suggest that there were a lot of things. There were a lot of things that you could have found, such as the crashes, there were a lot of things you could have found, even a cell phone or something. You could have found something, you know. There were a lot of things to be found in that house. Specifically, why would you say they were looking for that 2 centimeter steel, whatever that you said it was?
She said, I scooped water and went back to the bedroom. It was close to the kitchen, close to the bathroom. I sat there until many police officers arrived. Ntabiseng was shown exhibits from the crutch and head that she says she saw, and she confirmed the head that it is the head that she indeed saw, and the crutch she previously referred to. She pointed at a little steel item as well on the exhibit. Ntabiseng said after a while, those who were at the hospital arrived. Police began interviewing Longwe. They say that person I had seen was Longwe. Then Tumelo.
Okay, very interesting again. So you're saying that, Ntabiseng, you did not see Longwe in hospital?
Tumelo in the bedroom, They were being interviewed. She says, I don't remember who else. I don't remember seeing Togozisi. After the group, the police left. Kelly and others also left and said they won't be able to sleep in that house. So we left. We went home. It was after 12 midnight. Police returned the next day and said they are coming to fetch me for a statement at Vosloorus. I eventually went to Vosloorus. I was interviewed by police. And Baloyi asked, was a statement taken from you? And Tabi said yes. And Baloyi asked, was it the only one? And Tabi said a second statement was taken. I was interviewed by a person with the surname Buthelezi at Dawn Park Police Station.
There are a lot of contradictions in whatever, since from the beginning, I think, of what Ntabi has been. 2 people have testified, 3 actually. This is the 3rd one, but there's already a lot of contradiction between the 2. In particular, these 2 ladies. Zandi, if I remember very well, I'm not sure if it's the novel story. Zandi testified that Mapiri was standing outside
by the washing line.
Now I'm told that she was in a bedroom. So which one is true and which one is false?
She never screamed. She just went to Mapiri. She passed in Tabiseng, in fact. But we'll get into
because
that
they
later.
don't get they're not friends.
They're not familiar with each other. So, but I can't recall the year, but it was later after the first statement was taken. So the state went back to the time where she was in the car with Yolanda. Are you able to describe the people who ran towards the park? Then Tabiseng said the first one was not tall with a lean physique. Not tall with a lean physique. Of the other 2, one of them was not big or lean. Average height and dreadlocks. Average height and dreadlocks. Baloyi said, can you describe the dreadlocks? And Tabi said you could see the hair. Gutiwa, she tried to demonstrate in court how the dreadlocks were kind of showing.
Yeah.
The running was quick. I couldn't take an attentive look, but you could see that those were dreadlocks. Then Baloyi asked, and the other one was slightly bigger in physique. He had a hoodie. He was taller than the other 2. So who is the first one? Who is the first? Because we can already identify the taller one, the one with the dreads.
And what is
other
puzzling is that Ntabi is if we were to assume in this case it was long, if we were to assume for argument's sake it was long, I mean, why would you say you cannot then say it was long? Why would you not say it was long? Why would you still call a person just a person with no
physique,
name?
with a lean physique.
After getting a time of looking at Longwe during that interview, as it was introduced to you that this is Longwe and all that, why would you then not say actually the first person was Longwe from the word go? Even if we were to come tomorrow and say it was long.
Why does it need to be drilled out of you?
Of you, that it was long.
After the long adjournment, Sipho Ramosepeli for accused 1 and 2 began his cross-examination. So he started off by asking, so you were seated in the car of your friend? And Tabi said, yes. You said the first man running came after you, heard a loud bang. Then she said, yes, he was facing his back to you as he was running. Then Tabi said, yes. You said running fast towards the park. She said, yes. What was the lighting around 8 p.m. as you testified? And she said it wasn't that dark. Were the street lights on? And Tabi said, I think the Apollo lights were on. The Apollo light is a tall street light that covers like a section of a community or a township in an area. So yeah. Ramosepeli said, you mean the tall cast light that is placed in distance in each other in Mzamo? Where was the Apollo situated? And Tabi said there's no Apollo light in their street, but there was light perhaps from another Apollo or other lights from other houses illuminating. So Ramasipile asked, Zandi testified about a spaza shop in that street. Ntabi said, yes, it is there. It was a Sunday. Were the people milling around? And Tabi said it wasn't busy in that street. She said she didn't pay attention to the tuck shop.
Welcome, Amanda. Thank
Hi,
you for joining
Amanda.
us. Membership, thank you very much.
Ramasipili then asked, you testified you heard a second loud bang. Roughly after how long did you hear the first and the second bang? Ntabi said it wasn't after a few minutes. It was after a few minutes. Okay? It was after a few minutes. There was the first bang, and then 10 to 15 minutes later, a second shot. Ramasipili then asked, after the second shot, then you saw two people passing, running, headed in the direction of the park. Then had a third shot. And Tabi said, yes. After the third bang, did you see any persons running towards the park? And Tabi said, no. How much time lapsed between the second and the third shot? And Tabi said it was seconds. Ramasipile asked, the three males that you saw may not be connected or know each other. And Tabi said, I am unsure. I don't know, Then Ramasipile asked, the three men you say you saw running may have also been running for their safety. And that's where Baloi objected to say, these are matters of argument.
And with no doubt, it is true what Baloi was saying there. You cannot simply canvass that theory from someone who was not part of the house or who's outside. You cannot. You cannot. Yes, she might have seen people running with threats or whatever. Whether that is true or not, all you need to prove is that, was it true? Is it true? It's like that. Is there anything like that or not? That's your main aim. Not to canvass such things. You will do that with a judge on your arguments. And welcome, Lucy Home. Thank you very much for joining us.
So the judge does agree with you, Mr. Anonymous. He said, my apologies, the witness is very clear. She saw three men running towards the side of the park. Then Ramasipili said he will leave that for argument. He continued to cross-examine by asking the three men you saw running, did you look at their faces? And then Tabi was like, no, I couldn't see their faces. Did you see where they came running from? Not at all, Tabi Singh says. Then do you know why they were running? And Tabi Singh said, no, I don't know why they were running. So Ramasipili asked the first one, did you see where he ended up, into the park or somewhere else? And Tabi Singh said, the way he was running, when you arrive, the road splits. Then there is the park. I ended up observing him running down. He didn't go left. I don't know whether he entered the park or he went right.
There is an interest in that person, a very, very serious interest. I don't know how they are going to play around this person, the first one, because it's an interesting scenario that we are faced with. To me, it sounds like some records are broken somewhere. Thank you, Zingesa, for your gift. It sounds like the records are broken somewhere, and this testimony is scrambled for some weird reason. It does not make sense. I don't care how you look at it, but it just doesn't make sense. There are a few things that are sort of basically is debunking. She's debunking almost everything that we know that was said by Zan.
Creating a new story.
It's a whole new story. We got in together, even going to hospital. Now she's there at hospital. She's putting herself there at hospital, and she was never there. She was never put there by the first.
The fact that she's the first person whom the death of Senzo was announced to. She's putting herself there.
Yeah, she's becoming a person of interest.
And then another thing is the fact that she's not really debunking the 5 accused, but somehow pointing in their direction. However, not with certainty, not with nothing, basically.
And the threads are there again in this situation.
And the hoodie that has no color.
That has no color, which sounds very convenient for two people not to even recognize the color. I know it's been ages, but yeah, it sounds very, very convenient.
So Ramasipule asked, did you observe the clothing worn by the first man? And Thabiseng said no. And the second one, no. Only observed the third one's clothing, which was the hoodie. What color was this hoodie? You know? Ramasipule asked, were you then called to the police station to make a statement about the incident? Then Thabi said yes. Ramasipule said on the 27th of October 2014, when you made the statement, did you give physical, facial, clothing description of the men? And Thabi said that questions are posed to you and you answer based on that. Then Ramasipule said you testified after hearing the third shot you heard Zandi screaming, call an ambulance. And Thabiseng said yes. Zandi Khumalo testified that she was unable to call 10111. And Thabiseng said, I wouldn't know what was happening with her. She screamed at me while she was still in her yard before she exited the gate and came to the car I was sitting in. So it's funny how Zandi never mentioned that she screamed for Thabiseng in her testimony, you know. And then Ramasipule asked, she testified after she went out, she went to Mapiri's. Then Thabiseng said, what I am certain of is that she called out loud while she was in her yard and told me to call for an ambulance.
Look, I see the issue of screaming and not screaming. But I would like to take a position of that judge to say that it doesn't matter if they were screaming or not.
It means someone is lying between the two.
Yes, it might mean such, but I might have forgotten that I screamed. Such that I'm so convinced that I didn't scream. But it does matter that you forgot someone that you went in the house with. You even changed the position of a mother who was in a bedroom. You put him out. You put her outside. It just, I don't know. You can. Those are, some of it could be what we call white lies, but just.
Who's lying the most?
I don't know. Who do you think is lying the most? But we cannot say it here. You know, if there were lies, it's allegedly. I don't think that it's difficult to deal with. Yeah, the stories, and I can almost be certain that you're still gonna hear that story.
Yeah, and a fourth one, and a fifth one at this rate. So she said that she told that Senzo has been shot while running towards the car. I got into Mapiri's residence running together with her. I was carrying the baby. Rapun Sepele then asked, she also says she saw you sitting in a car, talking to someone in it. Then Thabiseng said, unfortunately, I can't speak for Zandi. I recall she called out louder and came running to the vehicle. Both of us ran into Mapiri's yard. She did not leave me outside the yard. Yeah. So Ramosipili said, and when asked her, why didn't she ask for help from the people in the car? She said she's not used to you. And then Thabiseng said, that is her evidence. I can't speak on her behalf. She further testified that she went to Mapiri's house because that is her mother's friend. And then Thabiseng said, all of that has been written in her statement. Ramosipili then said, she testified she went into Mapiri's house and she related the story and asked to call an ambulance and police. Thabiseng said, what I remember is we both called out loud into the house and then Mapiri came out of the bedroom. So Ramosipili then asked, she said Mapiri was panicking and said Thabiseng must be called to come and do so. Thabiseng said, I have no knowledge of that. How can she call me while I was with her? Ramosipili said, she said that she decided to leave Mapiri home when she saw you and Mapiri were panicking and crying. Then Ntabiseng said when she told Mapiri that Senzo was shot, we needed to call an ambulance. I was there. I panicked along with her at that moment.
Yes.
Ramosipile then said she testified that upon realizing that you and Mapiri were panicking and crying, she was not going to get any assistance. She then decided to leave Mapiri's house and then headed back home. Then Tabiseng said, I remember she exited the house, but I don't remember crying at that point. She didn't cry, guys.
There are a lot of things that don't look
Allegedly.
right here. Like even when you go to Longwe's statements of I went out looking for help and what after running out and then I was looking for help. How did you pass that car then of Ntabi, that of Ntabi's friend that was parked there?
How?
How is that then possible?
And then Ramosepele went through Ntabiseng Mokete's statement to the police that she made in the 27th of October 2014, taken by Abiam Pikele at 9:30 a.m. What language did you do the statement in? She said she did it in Sotho. She could not remember if the person who took the statement was speaking in Sotho. And they were in the room and it was just the two of them when the statement was taken. So Ramosipile then said, were you narrating events or was he that he was writing down? And then Tabiseng said he was asking questions and I would answer. He would then write down what I was saying. Then was the statement read back to you? And she said, yes, I think he did read it back to me. You then signed the statement, correct? Then Ramasepele said, in that statement, you stayed on arrival at Kelly's house. We found Senzo was deceased in Kelly's vehicle. So she's stating on that statement that when they arrived, Senzo was deceased in Kelly's vehicle.
Yeah.
He was taken to Butilong Hospital as he was shot. On arrival at the hospital, Senzo was taken to KHUMALO'S, and a few minutes, the doctor informed me Senzo passed away on arrival. So you stated in the statements that the three men you cannot identify as it happened so fast and it was dark. She said, I request a police investigation in this matter. That's what she said in her statement. Ntabiseng said, it is so. I think the question was whether I'll be able to identify the man, but I was able to see the physique and body structure. Ramosipele referred Ntabiseng to the second statement taken by Officer Joyce Busisiwe Buthelezi at Dawn Park on the 28th of April 2019. When asked about the language used, Ntabi said Joyce spoke all languages, Sotho, Zulu, and English. Isn't it amazing how they remember Buthelezi?
Yeah, and what is amazing also is that they remember the body size and forget the color of what. Because
hoodie.
before you look at the body, there are clothes, right?
Yes.
Yes, I know that people say you can forget it, but I don't know how the memory of it. Maybe we have different memories. Mine works with what I see first. Before I go further, then I don't know. It's like you're watching a person who's naked.
Quoting from the statement, it read, and I quote, I also like to state that I never had anyone screaming with the seconds I heard another loud bang. I then asked Yolanda if it was the sound of a firearm. Yolanda said no. After that second loud bang, I saw two males running past our car the same way the first male did. The two men were also running towards the direction of the park. I also did not see from which house on the side the two males were coming from. Ramosipele said, let's go back to the time you went back to the Khumalo household. You testified that the police wanted information from the scene that was required on some documents at the hospital. So you and Makhumalo were taken in a police car to the Khumalo household. Then Tabi said, yes, it is so. Zandile Khumalo's testimony is saying that when they left the hospital in the car they were traveling in, it was herself, Makhumalo, Kelly Tumelo, and others, apart from Togozi Ozisi, who stayed with Mandisa. Then Tabi said that I am sure of. I left the hospital with Makumalo and the police.
Debunking another theory of us coming back together, the KHUMALO'S and the friends. What is worrying me, Emil, just to deviate here, is that someone, somewhere in the upper position, if it's not president or deputy.
President.
No, not president. I'm not talking about the president of the country. President of in Joburg of Justice decided.
Oh, the DPP.
The DPP. Let's say the DPP. I don't know who decided on this. It's Ledwaba, right? According to what we've been hearing, is that
he's been in charge.
In charge. So, or it could be anyone else. I don't know. This is obviously an alleged.
We are speculating.
That person sits down and look at this case, carefully look at this case and sees it fit to let this case go ahead and say 375 is a junior recommendation, which that junior happens to say that, okay, there is too much contradictions among these people who were in the house.
It's a lot.
I believe that we need to take these people in.
For questioning.
You know, these people are the ones that should be held in custody. That's what we are told, according to the news. That's what this junior, which happens to be evolving around Joyce Butelis and the rest. That person says, okay, saw this thing. He's not a lawyer, you know. She's just a police who's doing what they are supposed to do.
Officer.
Collect evidence and give it to lawyers and say, here is what I'm giving you. But my suggestion is that the people who are in the house should be taken in and be arrested. And then you go on across this whole evidence that they've collected,
the more
everything.
These witnesses come, the more it proves that junior recommendation
Was correct.
Maybe there was something there.
It sounded, not to say it was correct in the sense that those people
it was
did,
gonna lead
but
to
it was
a right
better.
Direction,
Yeah, it was
or
a better version.
Direction.
Yes, it was a better version to say, let us get these people to align.
Because can you imagine as a police officer and you're hearing different versions? You should know about you love your job or you're passionate about bandla.
Now we are here, we see a bit of time wasting and all these things.
Oh my God.
What I'm seeing something screaming out that I actually failed this case. So how do I make it sleep? You know, that's what I'm seeing.
So Ramosipili said, the rest you are not sure about. And Tabiseng said, my mind is clear that from that hospital, I was with Makumalo and the police. The other aspect is that while you were with Makumalo at the house, there were police officers that were conducting police investigations in the house, correct? Then Tabi said, yes, that's correct. We had to adjourn at this time.
What basis are those people that are arrested now, that are held in custody, are they arrested on?
Yeah.
You know, some people have this tendency of becoming, you know, it surprises me, these double standards that we have.
Yeah, something solid as
you
to
know,
why they are
we all are listening
waiting
to the same case. We are listening to people contradicting themselves. What basis are these ones that are arrested on?
I'm sure you've seen us cover their statements.
I don't want people who come with a defense mood and not here to engage. If you are here, you must engage and give us something.
Reasons, qualify.
You know, you
your
can't just
arguments.
come here and say, on what basis? What basis are these ones? Give me the basis on these ones. Give me the basis of even denying them one of them a bail.
We will wait.
To even consider that some of these people were arrested for different things that they did. And then when they were inside, they were told
the
that...
accused number one. And then after they were arrested for another crime they committed, they then told Senzo in questioning?
You know,
How about the fact that they were held 2 weeks or so,
as they say,
being questioned, as they say, you know?
So because now,
What came out of that?
Because
Where
now-
are those confessions, by the way?
because now we're talking about other people that are famous, double standards. Because
You know what I've realized?
these ones is Ntanzi from Nongoma. It doesn't matter.
Nobody.
It's
It
a
doesn't
nobody.
matter. His rights
You
are
know,
not as
we
important.
come with clever blacks. They come later. When you go on the other side, what basis should these ones be arrested on? Why didn't you ask that question from the word go?
What do they have on them? We would like to see it. It's been a long time now, and nothing really makes sense from their direction so far for the public, the court of public opinion. I don't know about the defense attorneys. Perhaps there's something that they were given. But with the court of public opinion,
And
What do we have?
by the way, for those people who are here saying that there's ballistic evidence and whatnot, by the way, most of these questions, as this so-called, what is it, 636 is solid, is because of some of the levers from 375. What in your proper
do you
analysis?
know that the defense counsel, a majority of their angle and their argument is coming from 375? You know, those statements that they are using that you all are hearing in court, most of them are from 375.
The ones where they refer to Joyce, what.
When
most
you hear
of them.
Joyce, you must know it's 375.
375. The one that the clever blacks didn't want those things to be even accepted. It didn't make sense to them.
No.
While on the other side, in their lifetime, they have never
Guys,
had
come
a situation where, or have learned about the situation where there are two dockets in one case.
Come on, I can't believe we're having this conversation at this point of the case. I thought some of you would have been a little bit more informed. You know, I can't believe we are back to 2020 and 2021.
You see, I don't entertain these things. Let us have people who are calling, guys. Those who have proper arguments.
Okay, let me quickly wrap up on what the judge said. The judge asked the witness, Untabiseng, whether she'll be available tomorrow. And she said she'll be available. And she said, can I see your watch? How long have you been giving evidence since you started giving evidence in this court? And then Tabiseng said she doesn't know. So you can't even estimate. And Tabi said, I don't know, judge. This time, the judge said time is temporal thing. In other words, are you with me? Asking the counsel when he said time is a temporal thing. You know? Which is a good point. Maybe we shouldn't dwell so much on the time. But it's a temporal thing. Changes. So, yes, the lines are open, guys.
What in a sense that guy was saying is that Mzansi, hello.
Mr. Anonymous,
Hi, sir.
how are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you? Can you hear me?
No.
Okay. You can shoot now. You can shoot.
Okay. Look, you see, there are a few points that I want to raise on this matter. One, the interpretation is also a problem because you see the point that Emily was raising on the witness saying we found Senzo in the car deceased. When this guy interprets in Zulu, he says bathole umufi emotweni. He doesn't say they found him dead in the car. Now that's wrong interpretation, you see, and it compromises the case a lot because that point on its own linked up with the point that is made by the doctor at the hospital.
Yes.
Even that interpretation was done wrongly because when the doctor says it's a DOA.
Yeah.
DOA does not mean you die when you arrive in hospital.
Yes.
DOA means you arrived dead.
Thank you.
DOA means when you arrived, you had already died. It doesn't mean you die when you arrive.
You
see?
say. So is that
So
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
So the other thing is, these guys, why did they? These guys, why did they arrest these people many years after? Because according to the investigating officers, there were ballistic results that linked these guys, according to them, who are in the dock now.
Yes.
When did that ballistic report come out to link these people? Why were they not arrested at least 2 years after the incident? Why are they arrested now? You see, and besides, the issue that the community, which is Kaya, is part of the community, that after gunshots, no matter how you see, this case is showing us that everyone involved in this case is a brave person. After gunshots, and you see people running into the park, you run after them. You run after people who have guns. You see, that doesn't make sense. And how does Baloyi? I know Vaseline is a problem, but he is a problem because he knows that nothing will happen to him. But the script that these people are singing, it's not the script that was solely compiled by these people in the house. They were assisted by Baloyi himself during the preparation of the witnesses. And the argument brought by Zandi to say, when did we coil this script? It's neither here nor there, because they slept at the same place on that night. So they coiled the script on that night. So it's an argument that doesn't hold water.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
But another thing, for me, the judge is a participant in this matter, to the extent that he participates with emotion, to an extent that he intimidates these lawyers. You see, today we are all saying these lawyers are weak, these lawyers do not ask relevant questions, but they are being intimidated by the judge. Look at Black Mamba when he asked 2 questions today, and when no, not today, when he was questioning Zandi, and when Zandi gets arrogant, Black Mamba looks at the judge before he responds to Zandi. He looks at the judge and then he withdraws and says, "Okay, I withdraw. I will follow that on argument." But the witness is here in front of you. You should follow up with the witness now, not wait for the argument. You see. So the judge, by his participation and by his emotional involvement in the case, is intimidating these lawyers. You see.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Those are the points I wanted to raise. Thanks.
Okay, cool.
That is a very valid point.
That is a valid point. That the judge is indeed participating. I guess that's how he does things.
They are very timid. They are getting worse with every day. It's not helping their confidence.
When he wants to ask questions, he first throws these ones under the bus. Yes. And then he asks those questions. But I feel like he's got a certain certain way that he wishes to see
them perform.
And maybe they are not doing that, and it frustrates him. Because I think when he was calling them out on the contradictions, Mzansi, hello.
Hello, Mr. Arno and Emily.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good.
Yes.
I got 2 points. I'll start with the one that I think is a smaller point.
Okay.
You know, throughout Italy's testimony,
Yeah.
or rather her cross-examination, even during her testimony,
Mm-hmm.
she hasn't mentioned ukuthi uzandi wathi uSenzo udijile. The lawyer hasn't seen it. It happens that he has gone to the hospital and back to the house. She hasn't mentioned ukuthi uzandi wathi udijile ngoba uSenzo. And the lawyer hasn't seen that. You see? So that's the one. And then the second one, look, this one would be a little bit controversial, but I will save it.
Yeah.
Do you know, I just made a calculation of distance from Apple to
Sorry.
it's about 50
can you
kilometers.
repeat that?
Can you repeat that?
I made a calculation, okay,
Yeah.
of the distance from Apple to Boston. Remember, it's cheaper. After that interview, you said it stayed in Apple. I made a calculation. If someone drives at about 150 km per hour, it will take him about 20 minutes. She said the shots were about 15 minutes. The first and second shots were about 15 minutes apart. Then she said 30 minutes maybe. My assumption is they phoned Chico, probably. Chico said they must wait there, and he got there. You see? Because there is one thing that I'm doubting here. I am yet to hear of it.
It's alleged.
When Chico arrived at the hospital, was he given access to Senzo and was long at the hospital? If one of them is absent, Chico on that interview, he says, I found that Kelly, Kimelo, and whoever, and Senzo lying. So the only person Chico could do that Senzo was lying out or the hospital. So if he did not see Senzo as dead, then he saw Senzo at the house. So that is where long we was. Or rather, where long we would be. So then it tallies with our callers that is making calls. People are saying that emergency, whatever. But for the body to get calls, it's about an hour, 10 hours.
Yeah.
So if Chico went to the house and they waited for Chico to get to the house, now that is where I'm saying Senzo was shot at earlier than what was reported. And then when the decision was made, let's reenact this whole thing. I wouldn't be shooting again, and then it tallies up now with the story of him. And Kunsa is saying, so they've been planted there deliberately to make up to it.
Yeah.
Something to ponder on.
Everything
is alleged.
Everything, by the way, that is said in this channel is alleged. We are not
It's alleged.
anyone.
It's an assumption. It's an assumption.
It's an assumption and it's alleged. Speculations.
It's the court of public opinion.
Public opinions. Yes. Yes, you I hear you. I hear your theory.
No, thanks guys. I'll listen in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Everything in this channel is alleged.
People are thinking.
Yeah. So we're thinking out loud. By the way, those who are asking for a number, if you check there, it's scrolling there. That's why there's that bar that is scrolling there. You will get all the numbers of this channel.
If you are international, it's +27. Replace the 0 at the beginning with +27. And
there's truth in Nzanze. Hello. Nzanze, hello. Hello, how are you?
Kunjani Mr. Anonymous?
Siyaphila mfethu njani?
Yeah. I've got a problem about the testimony of this man. Maybe there's something that we don't or mhlambe esizoyibona, I don't know. If you remember very well, there was a theory where Umshololo made towards Uzangi actually. Maybe the person who shot at Senzo was in there. Yeah, I don't know if you recall it, but
I remember it.
I was listening to what Mshololo was saying. Mshololo said, maybe the people in the house disarmed the suspect. And then the gunshot came from the people who in the house and shot at things. I don't want to mention it. Because if I could mention it, maybe I'll be wrong. I was not there.
Yeah.
Then the judge came in, and I don't know what the judge said to Mshololo, but that theory, I just want to put it to you now. Doesn't this go together with what the woman is saying outside? When she says, the first shot went on, they were arguing, the second shot came in, they were still not sure they had and they were scared. I don't know the story, but she was saying something like that. But let us listen to what she's saying when the third shot came in. She says, when the third shot came in, when the third shot, the gun sound, that's when Zandile came running, screaming. And she doesn't say there were people following Zandile. Then what are we saying about it? The theory that Mshololo put to Zandile to say, what if the suspect or the suspect was armed? And the person in the house shot at Senzo Meyiwa. Because this woman doesn't mention the first shot and the second shot is anti. She says the third shot, when it came, it sounded the gunshot. That's when Zandile came out. And she didn't say, call the police. She said, Senzo has been shot. Now, I don't know if in Shambo we can look at, maybe I'm wrong. I didn't hear very well what Mshololo was saying and what this woman was saying. But clearly, this woman doesn't say, after the third shot, one guy came out running. That one guy didn't come. The only person who came out is Zandile herself. Was she following the suspect, Zandile? And if she was following a suspect, why no one came out of that except her looking, asking, screaming, saying, Senzo has been shot? Who shot at Senzo then? Who fired that gunshot? I'm asking you guys because you are following up these things. Now we are waiting. Sometimes you don't have time to listen to it. But I'm very disturbed by that because Mshololo did reach that point to say that maybe the suspects were disarmed. Remember, there was a lot of people beating him up. What happened to that guy? And here's Longo saying it was a 338 revolver. And now the police are coming with a 9mm. What is going on? Who shot at Senzo Meyiwa? Can you please just help me there, Mr. Anonymous? I'm a little bit confused here. I'm a little bit confused. I'm not sure I'm listening to it. This contradiction is really. If the judge stopped Mshololo from saying something, then he said, it's obvious that people came into the house, something like that. Yes, we all know now that the people did go into the house. We know there were people who went into the house, but the third shot, that woman came out. Who took that gun and shot at Senzo Meyiwa? That's the question I'm putting to you.
Let's hear if they are going to give you an answer on this one, but let's wait for others to give you an answer.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for taking my call. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mzansi, hello. Mzansi, hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, how are you?
I'm all good.
Yes, I want to be online.
You are online?
Hi, sir. Hello, Njani.
Sikhona njani?
Yaphila.
Yeah.
It's reading on my as a psychology. Sorry. Just like taking this as a thing, yeah, under psychology part. And when I read it, like this for today, the case was a waste of time because you can find out this woman was lying. And another part, the yesterday one, the guy that was testifying the next day, and he even said a long way was jumping on the yard, then
Togo.
He's in Togo. Was jumping on the yard. Then he said, "I'm not a killer." So my question is that why did the guy said, "I'm not a killer"?
I'm not the one.
So I'm not the one. So he was just covering something.
Yeah.
Which can happen that it was a gun thing and he was hiding it. And another thing, I check when under like psychology part, I'm checking the strength of Kelly. After someone that is shocked, how Kelly can get his friend, drive a car, do all these things. And when they are saying that they run to the parking, then they say to the parking, with who? If they are saying go to the parking, why they didn't go with that person? And how come, like, if someone is carrying a gun, then you have the power to run to the park? Then another thing, I think this is just a setup with all these stories you can follow in, and everyone just living their life, which is the main thing on my readings, and no one is perfect, but with my own reading and with my own psychology. Because even if you can see, still like if you see it like some other social media, if you still attend like the psychology thing, I think it was covering everyone here. And I think it was they made a mistake via the fight over Senzo Meyiwa. I think there was a fight there at the home, and the person that killed Senzo was inside the room. And what happened is maybe there was this affair between Zandile and this Senzo Meyiwa. Then longer was angry over that. So that's why this because Senzo they talk a lot about cheating, all these girls. It can happen that Senzo gets after with a Zandile. Then after this after then it came out. Then everyone was angry over it and longer with the fight with Senzo Meyiwa. That's a story. Then I'm reading back my citation. So thank you.
No, I hear you. Thank you very much for your contribution. Thank you. Yes, guys, please like the video, and everything that is said here is an allegation. And we are really looking at these things as a court of public opinion. We don't have any experience or don't work as lawyers. Mzansi, hello.
Hi, Mr. O and Emily.
Hi.
How are you guys?
We're well, and you?
Okay, yeah, today. I'm thinking it shows two witness, the neighbors, they're not lying. But they are very careful on what they are saying because, remember, after the court, they still have to return back to the community. Their life is not ending in court. So whatever that they are saying, they are very mindful about what they are saying, but they are not lying. And Kaya, I think that was the neighbor that Kaya, I think it's Kaya Nache.
Yes.
Kaya, she understood when we entered the house, I didn't notice anyone around Senzo. and then was now in Shololo twisting what Nache said. She said she was not really twisting it, but she didn't have the right way to put it across the court. And then now Shololo is saying, meaning they left him there to die. And then court had to object on that to say, no, I didn't let him there to die. Because remember, Zandi went out to look for help. It's not like the court is not understanding that, yes, Zandi, she did went out. We must also agree, she did went out. Because if you listen to the just that the story is not adding up, but she did went out to, she didn't went out to look for help. That's why she went out from the house because she was shocked and she had to scream. That can happen to everyone if the accident just happened. But if you listen to these people, there is no one mentioning the word. It's been, as Andy said, they've been robbed, or there are two people. It's been attacked. No one is mentioning that. And these lawyers, I don't know why. Okay, they are trying to show that, okay, this whole thing, but they're not giving me what I'm looking for. Because they should put it and say, okay, you are person who heard what was happening. And then Zandi is not mentioning that it's been robbed, or there are two guys that was robbing us, or something like that. That's why now, the judge, if you remember yesterday, he said, my peer said anything to you. Because the judge now wanted to find out that, as my peer said, obviously, Zandi just told me the story. If this woman now saying there was two guys that was running, she might not be lying. Let's look at this way. Remember, let's say you're standing on the street. Remember, the people are standing in township. I'm not too sure about the last in township, but I'm sure it's easy. If you are standing on the road and you hear the gunshot, what you can do? You're going to still stand and put your hands. You're going to run for your life. This woman is not saying, I saw two people coming out from Kelly's house. No, she's clear. I saw people running, first gunshot, one gunshot, and then after a few minutes, I heard another gunshot. Other two people also, I saw them running. And then after that, I heard the third gunshot. And then she never mentioned after that I also saw another people after the third one. Then it's very clear. Who shot the third gunshot? Let's say the worst case scenario, the people are coming from, Kelly's house. It's still not clear. Even the lawyers, they don't even have to go to that direction because the statement for the woman is clear. Those two people was running. The woman in the car, she also had to come out from the car to hide with the baby. Why she was doing that? Because if your gunshot was fired, she was scared for her life. Those two people or three people, whatever, how many, they were also running for their life. The lawyers, they don't even have to go to that direction to even ask about those two people because it doesn't even involve them to this case. There are communities with the country also who was running like she did also.
Yeah. No, yes. We get you.
So I'm saying things are pretty clear. The lawyers specifically to listen to the winners and not try to fight the winners, especially neighbors. The people they must try to be a bit hard on is the people that were in the house. The people that wasn't inside the house, try to be soft on that so that we can understand. You see the guy from yesterday, I think if that's not enough, the guy didn't.
Right. Mzansi, hello. You got cut there. Mzansi, hello.
Modern.
Yeah, bukolesehlik.
Okay. Man, ngifuna ukubhalansiswa nje kule ndawo nami. Lo Nthabisenge. ngoba ethi ubone abantu bebaleka okokuqala anonymous kakungicacisele kule ndlu kaMamphile kundawoni from kulo kohleli
opposite one house away, so it's like the next door neighbor is Nache and is opposite. Yeah.
Yes. Now le friend le moto imis le ndawo ime kuyo le friend le moto ya le friend ukokheli babona phambili or kuseback
babona
from emotweni
babona ngemuva. Yeah, why ngisho njalo ngoba uthi bibheke ngase parking. So after looking at the pictures, I saw Nache's house, and then kusho ukuthi labantu bebebheke la ukugijima khona labantu baphuma ngemumva bazodlula emotweni bashone phambili.
So at that time ebona uZandi ephuma esiza ebaleka, meaning yena ujonge eback from emotweni.
Yeah, okusho ukuthi uyophuma emotweni noma mhlambe ngoba uthi ubephuma ngithi shuthi uyophuma bese yaphenduka ambuke lapha aqhamuka lapha uZande memeza lapha ejika lapha nayophuma ngasegethini edlula ngakuyilokhuzana bathi danger box edlula ngakuye kodwa ngaphakathi odongeni ngoba igate la kuba azophinda futhi adlule kuyi danger box emgaqweni ashonele phambili.
Okay, Nkosi. No man, no lo siso kubo phone apha unyanisile xa sithi it's a waste of time lento. Andazi ukuthi abantu abasemagunyeni bona bayibona njani this case, because it's really a waste of time because it's quite clear what's going on. Yeah, it's quite clear because you can hear namfundanga umthetho angwazi yabo, but I can tell you this lady saying uthetha into ayixelele akathethi into eyenzeke, akathethi inyani, in other words akathethi inyani. You see, uthetha into ayixelele, and it's quite clear for me lo muntu ubaleke phambili ngulolongwe lo muntu lo muntu ubaleke phambili ngulongo, mara ukuthi lo udubula okwesithathu endlini angazi ba.
Yeah, no.
And benza ukuthi sithethe apha napha ngezitori bayikhaya labantu.
Yeah.
And it's so I'm so worried really because ngoku kulate ngoku for into yokuba baphinda bajike baconfess yabo kulate ngoku, and then sebesenza nje it's a waste really, it's a waste lento guys. I'm sorry man, thanks thanks now Mr. Anonymous.
Siyabonga kakhulu.
Thank you.
Sure.
Mzansi, hello.
Hey, njani?
Siyaphila njani?
Siyaphila. Yeah, uzosho nje ama allegedly wami nami. You know, I think ngeke sasho before and baningi abashiki.
Yeah.
Amanga namavision amaningi.
Yeah.
Nama-visions amaningi amanga. Yoqhamuka lona zothi so, qhamuke lona zothi so. So into nje esiyazi ukuthi iqiniso ile version one, it comes natural. Awulokhu ukuthi shamsakhumbuli no, you just hit to the point straight to what lento obuzwa yona ubonile nalo. Hayi ngeke mina ngize ngikhulumele abantu, ungakwazi ukumkhulumela omunye umuntu because you know ukuthi lento le omkhulumela ngayo iqiniso and then ayikhuluma iqiniso, so ayikho into ozazanisa omunye umuntu ngayo. So istory from Dinovo. We've been hearing different things from Dinovo. We are hearing different versions. Umuntu hambile wayebhala statement. Ubhalile statement wabuzwa wareheziswa uyabuya usexoxa into ehlukile, like
later ekhuluma yasina no-A no angazi nayibiza.
Yeah.
They know that it's two different things. It's confusing.
Yeah.
It's irritating. Ngathi sibukela imovie yase-TV kwabona ibukela imovie uthi hayi jikala baleka badlala ngathi nje abobaloyi ubaloyi akahambe ayoyenza isitoko samavaselina ayoshayinela somewhere thina sihlukane nathi abawuthathe labantu lapho esaziyo nabo abaziyo udilo abanicala udilwe nabo sekele ukudlala nathi bafethu baningi ngibonile kulokhu kuyazana ifoni ikunikeza abanye ithuba i-allegedly yami leyo sure sister
allegedly
ipolo
yazi
red polo
no that's what I was trying to say from the guy, the neighbor, they didn't ask about the polo. This one still no polo. Was there no car parked behind you or in opposite Kelly's house? Ebomvu, stuff like that. Can someone ask about those things? So you build up this polo. Was there anything that happened on that polo? Something like that. But there are a lot of questions, man, that you can ask a person, even though he was not part of the people that were in the house. Mzansi, hello, a minute.
Okay, Mr. Anonymous.
Yes.
Yes. Now, I wanted to raise something. You know, the question that you were asking about the what do they call that person? The junior police officer that they discarded the docket because he was a junior officer.
Yes.
You see, that junior officer was told the truth. You heard that Senzo's cousin said Mazala told them that Zambile's boyfriend has shot Senzo. And the police, that junior officer was told that truth. That is why she was recommending what she recommended in the other docket. You see? So there's a foul play here. There's no, people normally say there's no political will, but here there's no judicial will to get to justice in this matter. You see?
Yeah.
But the other thing that must be looked at, you see, if it were in other countries, like if you watch the medical investigators,
yes,
a lot of investigation on these people that are supposed to be witnesses in this case and are dying one by one. That investigation must be followed. You see, Kaya's father. Kaya's father, somebody knew that Kaya's father would not buy the script issue. He would come and testify the truth. So somehow he had to be gotten rid of. You see?
Allegedly.
Like the cops that have died. The cop that died at work. Allegedly, you see. So if the authorities are serious about bringing justice, they should investigate all these witnesses that are dying, because they're dying. It's not a coincidence that all these people are dying. No, thanks. I just wanted to raise those two issues.
Thank you.
So,
yeah, it is alleged. Everything here is alleged, and it's not our view. It's the commentator's views.
Yes,
the subscribers' views, the callers' views.
The views and opinions expressed on this channel are not that of the Mr. Anonymous.
Yeah, guys, I think I would like to take more calls, but unfortunately, my phone is about to die. This phone that we have here, let me see. Was there an autopsy? And when
there's a post-mortem.
He was pronounced DOA, had rigor mortis. Hey, that's biology. Biology.
That's deep. Who is that?
Because it is alleged that he was shot 6 p.m. and was arrived at ER after 10 p.m. His lips would have been started to stiffen thereby Nkosi yami. Zansi reality, hello.
Unjani?
Sikhona, unjani?
Khona ba. Into ivideo lebodlala izolo.
Sure.
Leba interviewer uChico.
Yeah.
uChico uthe ufike uSenzo alele phansi ne. Why angakamncidi? Nasizwa namuhla ngoThabiseni ne. Baphinde bafonela 34 Thabiseni batshela uChico ukuthi usesibhedlela. Okay. Kanti kwenzekani lapho? There is something connected dot.
Yeah. No, ngiyakuzwa. It's alleged. Mzansi, we are done. Thank you very much for being with us up until this time, guys.
And please like the video, guys. Encourage us with your likes. Like the video.
Oh, what is the phone number? The phone number is there.
On the screen.
It's there on the screen.
But you'll call tomorrow.
Call tomorrow,
fine.
yes.
We will be live for the duration of the trial.
Yeah, this one is raising a proper argument here. The sequence of gun, you're not a sequence of gun, you're not something else to be decoded. That one, 15 minutes and then a gun, the other sound sounded more closer to the car. There's a lot, man. There's a lot. There's wish. There's a lot. You need to.
I wish, Shem. When I heard Zandi's statement and I heard this, nothing from scratch. So I wonder if this, I was listening to another lawyer, I think on Newsroom Africa, who was saying that the state is also not in a good position because there's no need to be calling all these other people first. Why are you not calling the people in the house first?
Yeah, guys, it's a bye from me. I would like to take more calls, but unfortunately, yes, Tifo was right. If only we wanted to see justice, could have let that man finish the case. It's a bye from me.
Bye, guys.